Theater needs three elements to exist: a performer, a spectator, and a space. Peggy and Denny will lead us on the adventure of transforming the ordinary into the extraordinary. Please welcome Peggy Livingston and Denny Vick.
If you're of a certain age or a fan of Turner Classic Movies, you may remember the Andy Hardy movies, where at some point in the movie someone would say, "Hey, let's put on a show." And then someone else would say, "Hey, my father has a barn." For many years, the Hutchinson Theater Guild was a wandering band of gypsy minstrels, proving that it is true that all that's needed for theater is a performer, a spectator, and a space. Our story begins here at 901 West 1st, our building that was perfect for storing props and costumes and holding meetings, but little else. Although the property did have a large lot and we were approached about stalling a horse on it, but unfortunately our area was not zoned for agricultural or livestock use. One day a board member noticed a building for sale at 9 South Main, the former Renaissance shop. The realtor was contacted, a tour of the building was arranged, excitement was building. Could this be our theater? An offer was made, and then we received the phone call and heard the frightening words, "Your offer has been accepted." The building was ours. Naturally, the first thing we wanted to do was put on a show. Much like the Andy Hardy gang, we had church pews that we had purchased at an auction for seating, a portable lighting system, a black curtain, and a hastily constructed stage and set. The science fiction piece, The Man from Earth, played for 4 performances in January 2013. About a week later, we received a nicely worded letter from the city requesting that we cease and desist holding any further public gatherings until the building met code. Thus, like Odysseus, we began our own odyssey, which would at times be stranger than science fiction and nothing like Andy Hardy.
This is the original plan that Bob Colliday, our contractor, designed. There are some differences in the final design, but Bob's vision was right on. He conceived the layout, and he worked to make the dream come true. I'm sure at times he regretted the decision to take on this project, but he saw it through to the end. Originally, it was gratifying to rip out the interior of the building. There is a certain sense of power and payback when you tear into a project with reckless abandon. We had many volunteers who pitched in to help, and we saw major change when we stopped to clear away the rubbish. Every time we unearthed a new area, we ran right into it. Earth. There was so much dirt because there was so little concrete used in the building. It was dirt with more dirt underneath. What looks to be a completed wall in this photo was eventually ripped out.
This is what we fondly referred to as Frankenstein's laboratory. This was the electrical panel when we purchased the building. I learned more about Romex cable, junction boxes, bending conduit, and pulling wire than I ever hoped to know. Thanks for rewiring the entire building and installing new electrical panels. With demolition complete, we technically had all that we needed to perform theater, a space. But as I said earlier, city building code had a few more requirements. Thus began the journey of moving walls, pouring footings, new bathroom plumbing, scraping paint from tin ceilings, fire doors and fire exits, painting, and trying to maintain a positive attitude. If I haven't mentioned it yet, all the demolition and renovation work was done by volunteer labor. There were many people who assisted in this project, but here are what I like to refer to as the Fantastic Four. The guys with the broom and the drill provided the brawn, but the other two were actually the brains behind the brawn. Bob Colliday and Bob Callahan, or as I like to refer to them, the Bob C. twins.
The name Hutchinson Theater Guild received top billing when new signage was added to the exterior of the building, but soon our audiences would be saying, "We're going to see a show at Stage 9. It had a fresh, contemporary ring to it. When we heard that Sterling College was redoing their auditorium and giving the seats away, we were there immediately. Taking the seats out, moving them to Hutchinson, and reinstalling them was a chore, but those seats are a blessing. Here we are taking a break. Whoever had the key had not shown up yet. At this point, the auditorium was cleared. Bob Colliday had figured the degree of gradation so that the tiers would be in the best order to give optimum viewing for our audience. Our sound booth, shown on the right in the photo, was awaiting sound and light. Many talented people pitched in when it came time to get the building ready to be showcased. We tiled 2 bathrooms and decorated the lobby with leftover tiles donated by community members. Craig Barkley of Barkley Plumbing donated all the labor. There were many examples like this. We could never enumerate that generosity in 20 seconds. There was a big sigh of relief when we got to this point. We had seating, carpeting, electrical outlets. What you can't see here is the costume shop with costume hung on racks. Lots of shelving, the set building shop, the green room, 2 bathrooms, and 2 dressing rooms. We were officially a theater, and we looked the part.
One of the happiest days of my life was when the backstage area, theater, and lobby were completed, and we were officially received our occupancy license from the city. I want to say that the city staff we interacted with could not have been nicer or more professional. They sometimes told us things we didn't want to hear, but they were always willing to work with us towards a solution. Stage 9, formerly known as the Hutchinson Theater Guild, officially opened in 2014 with our production of The Kitchen Witches. What we had originally thought would take 6 months to complete had taken almost 2 years. When people ask me if I had to do it all over again, would I? Without hesitation, I say no. But I wouldn't trade the experience for anything.
This is a Stage 9 production set, Other Desert Cities. What progress. And much of the credit goes to the gentleman on the left side of the photo. Charles Johnson became our producing artistic director, and he is our sole paid employee. He has worked wonders with the actors and facilities. He designs the sets, builds the sets, you name it. He's the genius behind Stage 9. In November 2015, we adopted the Stage 9 title with a redesigned logo and graphics compliments of a donor. Longtime patrons still refer to us as HTG. Breaking a 45-year habit is difficult. Our mission is to excite minds, move hearts, and change lives through theatrical performances. Come to Stage 9 and see how we're doing.